Wrestling with the Past, hosted by Jason Nupp. Join Jason as he reviews classic wrestling footage from the golden era of the WWF, when our biggest childhood fear was anyone from the dreaded Heenan family capturing the precious World Wrestling Federation gold from our red and yellow savior, Hulk Hogan. There were rowdy pipers, Snukas who superflied, animals with green tongues, Russian Volkovs, Sheiks of iron, a demolition that could axe and smash things to bits. It was a glorious time to be alive. It was a time to rock and wrestle, when a video coliseum fulfilled our childhood world with excitement and wonder. And now, the host of Wrestling with the Past, give it up, give it up, give it up for Mr. Jason Nupp.
What's up, guys? Jason Nupp, New Age Revolution, down here in the cave for an episode of Wrestling with the Past. This is one I've been wanting to talk about. Nothing special, but now that I'm getting back into these and doing them with you, I'm enjoying them because I won't watch ahead until I do a show. So I've watched 3 shows. I've got 3 shows for you to review. And I've been waiting to start like the next week, and I don't, because I want to review before I go on. So here we go. Now tonight I can finally start watching the rest of November 1984, the third week or so in November 84. All right, so we have 3 shows on 11/10/84, and 11/10/84 I assume was a Saturday. Let's find out. 11/10/84 was a Saturday. Yeah, well, that's obvious. I just want to make sure that my dates are right. Because what a fun Saturday for a wrestling fan, November 10th, 1984, because you get a championship wrestling show, you get a Maple Leaf wrestling show, and then later on that night, you can curl up with your favorite blanket and your favorite bag of Doritos and your favorite Pepsi, and you get to watch Spectrum, a house show from the Philadelphia Spectrum, on Spectrum Network, or Prism Network, if you had that. I didn't, right? But so I would have to wait for the MSG house shows. But if you were a kid in Pennsylvania, oh yeah, you had a good Saturday, November 10th, 1984. All right. So first up, we've got, what do we got? We've got Maple Leaf Wrestling. We have Maple Leaf Wrestling 1984. I put it in my notes for my phone, which I never do. But as I'm laying there on the couch, at 12 o'clock at night, and I'm watching these shows, I don't want to have to like grab the notebook and I can't see, I got to turn the light on and write stuff down. So I just write it in my notes section, which I never do, right? I don't know if you guys knew or not, but on your iPhone devices, you might have a notes section. And it's really cool for just writing stuff down. All right, anyway, Maple Leaf Wrestling, November 10th, 1984. I've talked about my feelings about Maple Leaf Wrestling. I don't love it. I love it for nostalgia. I love the arena. The matches are, typically pretty boring. Even for jobber matches, and the announce team is dreadful. So I've told you that Jack Reynolds, who's horrible, Angelo Mosca, who's horrible. So Jack Reynolds and Angelo Mosca are basically your Vince McMahon and Bruno San Martino from Championship Wrestling. And then Billy Red Lyons is your Mean Gene, who does the house show interviews. So bad. It's just bad. Anyway, JYD, the Junkyard Dog, in full effect, takes on Goldie Rogers, who is a, I believe, a Canadian job guy because he's always on the Canada shows. I'm not going to talk too much about stuff that doesn't matter. JYD looks great at this point in his career. He's fat muscular, and I like that look because at one point I was fat muscular, and if I went back to the gym, I might be able to get back to fat muscular, right? But JYD is fat muscular before he just gets fat. He looks great. Goldie Rogers is a cool looking job guy. Really, really a pro wrestler look, like an 80s pro wrestler look. He's got the big gold hair, big blonde hair, and like the brown beard, so he's got brown and gold. He just looks cool. He kind of looks like gorgeous Jimmy Valiant a little bit. That kind of, nutty, wild man. It's cool. I think Goldie might have had a little bit more success in territories other than the WWF. JYD, obviously with the win. Kamala takes on Joe Marcus. I believe once again Kamala is brought to the ring by Johnny V, and that doesn't make any sense. David San Martino, who has literally been on every show that we reviewed since I came back to Wrestling with the Past. David San Martino takes on Butcher Vachon. And when I was looking for the date of the show, I just wanted to confirm the date. Yeah, I like to match up the DVD with like records online. So I looked up the 11/10/84 show, and it is the right one. But somebody had commented that the David San Martino Butcher Vachon match did not go the way Canadian fans would have hoped it had gone, and that would have been Butcher Vachon butchering David San Martino. But no, David San Martino gets the Duke. And they're still calling him David Bruno San Martino, which I think they completely do away with eventually. But he's still David Bruno San Martino. For like his first match ever, well, I mean, I don't know. The first time I saw him, he was Bruno San Martino Jr. That lasted once. And then he went to David Bruno San Martino. Dr. D. David Schultz still hanging around. My good buddy told me that he leaves in December, gets fired in December. But he's still hanging around. He defeats Steve Lombardi, who, in 1983, late 83, began like his 59-year run with the WWF. David Schultz over Lombardi. Okay. Then we get a Piper's Pit. And the cool thing about the Maple Leaf Wrestling shows is the Piper's Pit is filmed at Maple Leaf Wrestling Studios or wherever they wrestle. It's not Maple Leaf Gardens, a smaller venue, but the Piper's Pit is filmed there, so it's almost exclusive to Maple Leaf Wrestling, right? They could very easily have rerun that week's Championship Wrestling Piper's Pit, but they do their own. And I don't know if I'm just looking at it too closely, but when Piper does the Piper's Pits in Canada, he has a different colored kilt. He doesn't do the traditional Roddy Piper red and green like the LJN figure. He does like a black and yellow kilt. I don't know if that's something, but I always see him wearing that on the Canadian pits. Well, his guest is Angelo Mosca. And it's bad. It's bad. So Mosca is a very, very part-time wrestler at this point, and might even just be wrestling in Canada because at a Vancouver house show, they're advertising Iron Sheik versus Angelo Mosca. I guess there's a big, brawl in that match. They end up having a rematch in Canada. So Angelo Mosca gets a little bit of action in late '84. And I think he has a little mini program with Roddy Piper in Canada, maybe. Oh, but the Piper's Pit is so bad because Angelo Mosca is so bad. And here's what drove me nuts about this Piper's Pit. Piper's talking to him as Piper does, right? Piper he'll like, Angelo Mosca, you were so good at football, blah, blah, blah. And then he'll like slide in an insult, right? And oh, no, what I meant was, you know, he'll do that, and then he'll slide in an insult, right? So he'll compliment you and then insult you. That's the Piper, you know, gimmick. So the problem that the part that drove me nuts was that Angelo Mosca was doing like the silliest, like tough guy, I'm getting mad at you look every time Piper would insult him. So Piper would say something insulting, and then Angelo Mosca would go like this. And Piper would be like, oh, no, wait a minute. And then Angelo Mosca would sit still, and then Piper would insult him again, and Angelo Mosca would be like, you know, I know I look like an idiot doing it, but it was so bad. It was like I don't even know how to describe it. He was a faker trying to fake being mad at another fake, you know, just bad. And then Piper would have to be like, whoa, big guy, whoa. So stupid. Mosca, just like, you know, just shut up. I can't stand Angelo Mosca. I really can't. Anyway, so that's that. And then, like I said, there's a lot of those in-between match house show promos where they talk a lot about, you know, some matches coming up, obviously, and they're all Canadian, obviously. And they really had a lot of Davey Boy Smith, Dynamite Kid, Bret Hart, Angelo Mosca, you know, Bad News Brown. Bad News, but he was Bad News Alan Coge. He would wrestle on loan from Stampede Wrestling, I assume. He would wrestle at the Canadian house shows. Bad News Alan, he was called. Okay, so then we get Tonga Kid against another awesome jobber, awesome look, Ted Grizzly, right? And the Grizzly part is he's got a lot of hair, a grizzly bear or whatever. But Ted Grizzly, great jobber, great looking jobber. If I could find a photo, it'll be up here. And Tonga Kid, just whatever. I mean, he's, you know, they're building the return of Snuka. They're building Tonga Kid, Roddy Piper feud. They're building the tag team matches with Snuka and Tonga Kid. Okay, so we get to see a lot of Tonga Kid. I really don't like him. I don't like his face. I don't like him. I don't like the Tonga Kid. He's I don't know. I don't like the Tonga Kid. I don't like Angelo Mosca. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, then we get the greatest thing I have ever seen, ever, right? And it's something that I wish that the United States would have been smart enough to pick up on, but we didn't. We've got a very strange matchup. I don't know what was going on. I don't know if people had gone home early. I don't know if people got sick in the back and they needed some replacements. But we get Big John Studd and Nikolai Volkov teaming up, managed by Bobby Heenan, right? And they're going against SD Jones and Samoan number 3, Samu, who is now maybe a good guy, I guess. You know, the Samoans are good guys. Samu was always just like a jobber in between. Now he's a good guy, apparently. So first of all, we've got this strange combination. Both sides. Studd and Volkov, very weird. Where's Iron Sheik? You know, these shows are taped, you know, maybe 3-4 at a time. So the fact that Johnny V is still managing Kamala and that Fred Blassie is not there, I'm guessing that it's all in the same, you know, time period, the same taping. Iron Sheik was at previous episodes. I don't know what the heck's going on. I don't know what happened to Iron Sheik. Did he fall asleep? You know, did he have a bad stomach? He was on a toilet? I don't know. But they put Big John Studd with Nikolai Volkov against SD Jones and Samu. Now, here we go. Here we go. As always, Nikolai Volkov prepares to sing for the Russian national anthem. And as he begins to sing, in unison, the entire crowd begins to sing the Canadian national anthem as loud as they can. And that is perfect. That is absolutely perfect wrestling stuff, right? In the US, if our moronic American fans had just thought of that, instead of booing and throwing paper cups into the ring, if we had just all stood and did like a 20,000 people national anthem, that would have gotten so much, that would have been such a great visual to see, right? The Canadian crowd and Maple Leaf Wrestling did it and killed it, and it was so awesome. Nikolai Volkov got through the song, but Bobby Heenan was overreacting, and Big John Studd was freaking out. And Nikolai, I think Nikolai was just like a kind of just like a dopey, you know, I don't think he knew how to, I don't know. But he doesn't react. He gets through the song. But Heenan and Studd are flipping and flopping all over the ring. They're furious. Unbelievable. So cool to see. If we had just figured that out here and sang the national anthem every time Volkov sang, it would have been amazing. But we don't figure that out. So that's that. Obviously, Studd and Volkov win. Okay, then we have a championship wrestling show from the same, you know, the same day, November 10th, 1984. And a couple of things that I noticed, a couple of non-match related things. Bobby Heenan is still flip-flopping between the Bobby Heenan outfit that we're used to, you know, like the sweaters with the BH or just the black sequin kind of looking thing, and a suit. When he first broke into the WWF, he would wear a suit. And here, on the Championship Wrestling show, he's wearing a suit. On the Maple Leaf Wrestling show, he's got the classic Bobby Heenan outfit. I'm only mentioning that because I noticed these things. And eventually, he goes straight to the, you know, the sweater slacks combo versus the suit. I noticed these things, guys. It's like 1:30 in the morning when I'm watching these. I've talked about this before. The beautiful innocence and simplicity of signs, right? Of signs that the crowd brings. I saw signs in the crowd that said, you ready for this? JYD. That's it. JYD. Tony. For Tony Garea. Just Tony. So we've got a JYD sign. We've got a Tony sign. And then we've got... for Big John Studd, ready? Don't be insulted. Johnny Dud. Johnny Dud for Big John Studd. The creative innocence of signs in 1984, Johnny Dud. And I love that. You know why I love it? Because fans weren't trying to put themselves over with a stupid sign, with stupid comedy, you know. Just Johnny Dud. They actually wanted the wrestler to see it and be upset. I love that. I love that. Another thing I've noticed is that, so Big John Studd is continuing to do the body slam thing. You know, obviously they're building up to WrestleMania. But every time Studd gets in the ring with somebody and challenges them to slam them, especially if it's like an SD Jones, or in this case, Tony Garea. It's Big John Studd against Tony Garea. Big John Studd looks very easy to slam. And I know that in reality, with the help and the assistance, that Big John Studd probably was easy to slam. Now, I'm not saying that I can go slam Big John Studd. But, you know, he's helping you, and you're strong. You know, you can probably get him up and slam him. So, but because when Tony Garea would do it, he would lift him up easily. Right? He wouldn't turn him over, but he would lift him up easily. And then, like, Studd would grab the rope and, you know, the announcers would freak out. Oh, my God, he's got him! So I think Big John Studd was probably easy to slam. And I don't know why more people couldn't slam him. Big John Studd... in this match, the crowd is going insane because Tony Garea is getting the most offense ever. Like, he's killing Big John Studd. He's a house of fire, as they say. And then... So Tony Garea is beating Big John Studd up the whole match. And then the end comes when Tony Garea is whipping Big John Studd into the ropes. Big John Studd reverses it, throws Garea in, and then hits him with a shoulder block. And gets the pin. That's it. a shoulder block. You know, it's kind of like a big tackle block, but, you know, shoulder block. Gets the Duke. The 1, 2, 3. Hillbilly Jim is still in the audience. We're going on, I think, 3-4 months here. Maybe longer, of Hillbilly Jim just being in the audience. Okay, so here we go. Then we go to Mean Gene, who does the, you know, eventually it'll be called the Event Center, but right now it's just like, you know, the interview. And this is a Boston Market show that I have, so they're advertising for the Boston Garden show coming up. And the big announcement is Jimmy Snuka is returning. So Jimmy Snuka hasn't been around for several months. We've got the development of Tonga Kid, and Jimmy Snuka is returning. And so they make the announcement that it's going to be Snuka and Tonga Kid against Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff at this Boston house show, which unfortunately I don't have. But I got a feeling we're going to see the same match at MSG in Philly. We get Beefcake in action, and he's terrible. You know, he's bad. Like, it's such a delay to get the match started because Johnny V has to basically disrobe Beefcake, and he's taken his bow tie off, and then the crowd will boo, so he'll stop taking his bow tie off. Like, that's a big deal, right? He'll go to take it off, and the crowd will start making noise, and then Johnny V will be like, "Ah, cut it out, cut it out." Like, he won't take the tie out. Like, who cares about the bow tie? And wrestling crowds are so dumb. Like, we're booing, or you know, we're giving him a hard time because he's about to take his bow tie off. How dumb. I'm angry today with Wrestling with the Past. Beefer gets the win. I didn't even write down who he took on. And now he's starting to use the flying knee finisher, which is cool. That's the Beefcake finisher that I remember. Up to this point, he was doing like a backbreaker or a power slam. He might have even done a bear hug, but now he's just going with the running flying knee for the pin. We have a Piper's Pit, and the guest is Barry Windham. So Barry Windham is in the fold. He's in the mix. He's fully in the WWF. I love it. Barry Windham is here. And of course, Roddy Piper's making fun of him because he's from Texas, as Roddy Piper says. You come here from Texas. Really? Like, what? You know, so he keeps doing the Texas thing. And then, of course, Barry Windham's big comeback is, well, you wouldn't do so well in Texas because we don't see a lot of men with skirts. Classic comeback, but you know, I love it. I just love it. I love it. David San Martino is here, and he's taking on, again, the returning Johnny Rodz. And, you know, look, I at an MSG show, this match would have went 20 minutes. This match would have been a 20-minute draw, San Martino versus Rodz. But San Martino beats him in the TV time, you know, 2 minutes and 50 seconds or something like that. And that's just sad for Johnny Rodz. You know, that's you know, that's tough. That's a good payday, but Johnny Rodz losing in under 3 minutes to David San Martino. We've got a pretty cool ad for the WWF 1985 calendar. Nice little commercial for that. The thing I want to point out is, though, part of the delivery payment, part of the payment options is COD. And because of these old shows, I get to be reminded about COD. That's very cool. But think about it today. Cash on delivery, right? You order the item, you pay nothing. Right? The UPS guy comes to your house and you pay him. Somehow, I don't know. I don't know how it worked. What does the UPS guy do with the money? Right? How does he get it to the WWF catalog? You're not swiping a credit card through his, you know, Square app, his Apple Pay. Right? So how did COD work back then? And could you imagine it today? And how much of a disaster that would be today? How many people would be like, I'm not paying for it. No, get out of here. I never ordered that. Or how many people would actually attack and assault the driver to get their free item, right? I mean, but back then, yeah, that's okay. We'll trust you. We'll trust you. Order the item. Pay us when it comes. That's so great. Another one of those Billy Jack promos. He's still on the horse. He's riding the horse, and you know, he just talks a bit, and he never comes to the WWF for like 2 more years. Dave Barbie takes on the Tonga Kid. Dave Barbie is another one of those decent-looking jobbers. Big oafy kind of lumbering guy. Big, strong power lifter body. You know, very stiff in the selling. You know, very not a great seller when it comes to the punches and stuff. He takes on the Tonga Kid. So here we go. Here we go. This is a very vivid childhood memory. Tonga Kid, Dave Barbie. Roddy Piper comes out to distract Tonga Kid. And at one point, starts to climb up into the ring. Ready? Right? So he's threatening to climb up into the ring. And then we get the biggest eruption from a, you know, TV taping house show, or, you know, a TV taping crowd. Right? And these little venues, I don't know if this was Allentown or Poughkeepsie. I mean, we're talking maybe 1,000, 2,000 people, if that. And they're blowing the roof off the place because down the aisle, in a very slow, scary stalker approach, is Jimmy Snuka. He's back, and he's got a neck brace on. And the crowd is going insane. And Roddy Piper is going absolutely nuts. He's seen a ghost. And in fact, he calls him a ghost at one point. Great interview. But he goes nuts, right? So Jimmy Snuka gets in the ring slowly. Tonga Kid is standing there. Snuka takes off the neck brace and throws it into the crowd. Oh my God. I remember this from a kid. I remember this. I remember losing my mind watching this. Nobody touches anybody. Piper runs out of there. And then there's a Piper interview afterwards. And this was a cool interview because like they do the Mean Gene interview, but they actually like tailored the interview as if the match just happened. So you're interviewing Roddy Piper. You know, it was probably a pre-taped interview, but he's like, he's you know, he's saying basically there's no way that that's Jimmy Snuka. Jimmy Snuka's dead and buried. Jimmy Snuka's a ghost. Oh, I loved it. Roddy Piper is legit, but Roddy Piper is afraid that Jimmy Snuka is back. So good. So good. All right, we're up to like 26 minutes. We got to fly here. I know you guys don't want to sit for longer than half hour. We've got the Spectrum House Show. Spectrum House Show, we've got Rene Goulet versus Quick Draw Rick McGraw. That goes to a 20-minute snooze fest draw. We've got Terry Gibbs taking on Jose Luis Rivera, another absolute snooze. I do like watching the snoozes, though, because it just brings me back to a better time. But these matches are long and slow. The crowd absolutely loses their mind on Gibbs versus Rivera. They are booing the heck out of this match. They are boring chants all over the place. And the Spectrum crowd, as you've heard me mention before, they are absolute animals. The Spectrum is the unsafest place to watch wrestling in the history of wrestling. Even in 1984, they are animals. They are berserk. They are crazy. They are riotous. Horrible. I'm terrified watching the Spectrum crowd. We've got Mike Rotundo. Mike Rotundo is here. He takes on Johnny Rodz in another slow, not a scientific match, but a lot of amateur stuff from Rotundo. And this is the first time I've seen Rotundo on WWF TV. So here we go. He's here, and we know what's going to happen eventually. We've got Brutus Beefcake taking on Samu. Okay, fine. The Beefer gets his offense. Samu gets some offense. And the Beefer with the pin. David San Martino taking on Charlie Fulton. So we've got 5, with the exception maybe of Beefcake and Samu, we've got 5, curtain jerk matches. 5 job matches. Long job matches. David San Martino versus Fulton. Okay, back and forth, blah, blah, blah. David San Martino wins. Very boring. David San Martino is close to being on my list of I can't stand you. We've got Tonga Kid versus Moondog Spot. Fine match. Tonga with the win. We've got Moondog Rex taking on a debuting Blackjack Mulligan. So Blackjack Mulligan is here now. And he's wearing the red long sleeve shirt here in this match, and I think that's the look that he had in like 86, 87 when he comes back too. Blackjack Mulligan, he's, you know, I think he, you know, maybe should have done more. I think he did a lot in like NWA and Georgia and things like that, but Blackjack Mulligan has a good look, like a Stan Hansen. You know, I think Blackjack Mulligan could have easily been a world champion for like the AWA or World Class or something like that. Father-son combo here. We've got Barry Windham taking on Jerry Valiant. So that's handsome Jerry Valiant. Terrible. Just, I mean, Jerry Valiant's terrible. Barry Windham's great. He wins it with the Bulldog. At the end of the match, they put up the graphic that says winner, and they spell Barry Windham's name wrong. They spell it W-I-N-D-O-M. And again, how, you know, my thinking back then is that the graphics people were not WWF employees. They might have been like Prism Network employees or something like that, because you're just not getting away with that if you're working for the WWF, I would think. Here we go. We've got Andre versus Studd. Andre versus Big John Studd in what I am calling like their first mainstream match. The first big 1984, end of 1984, 85 is coming, the boom is coming, WrestleMania is coming. I'm sure Andre and Studd went at it before, but this is their match where it's beginning to push towards something, right? And it's great because Big John Studd beats the heck out of Andre, has him bleeding, beats him up outside the ring. It's a double count out. And they lay the foundation for the feud, and the double count out, Andre bleeding, just skyrockets the feud into further rematch. I love it. Finally, we got Sergeant Slaughter and Junkyard Dog versus Sheik and Volkov. Now, this is a rematch because the last time they were in Philly, I don't know what the swerve finish was, but to warrant the rematch, but it's the Philly crowd went absolutely insane on Sheik and Volkov while they were singing the national anthem. More stuff thrown in the ring than I have ever seen. It continues this match. Stuff thrown in the ring. Sheik and Volkov are outside the ring. Sodas bouncing off of Iron Sheik. Just getting... I can't believe it. I actually get angry when I watch the Philly crowd. Because... honestly, if you throw a soda at a wrestler, you deserve to just be beaten to a pulp. I mean, you got to get smacked around if you throw a soda at a wrestler. And you're not 12. You're probably 30 years old, and you're throwing a soda at a wrestler. You deserve to get your butt kicked. That happens. It's a cool visual. Junkyard Dog is wearing camo gear, and Slaughter's obviously wearing camo gear. And that's a great match. And the match is a Texas Tornado match. Everybody in the ring at the same time. Great fun match. The crowd is insane. They truly, truly despise Sheik and Volkov. And my God, what a great, when the crowd is that hot, you know, despite the soda throwing, when the crowd is that hot, by the end of this match, I mean, there was no organization to the crowd. Nobody was in rows. Everybody was just on top of each other. It's a madhouse. You got to watch some Philly Spectrum. Go watch this match. Go watch the Philly 1184 match. But go to the end. Watch the main event. You'll see the crowd just... you know, it looked like there were no aisles. It looked like there were no rows, no chairs. They were just all like on top of each other. Woo! I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't do these shows so long. This is a long one. I have to, though. I can't do... Anyway, this will be the longest show that we do. The Wrestling with the Past is going to be a 30-minute show. You're just going to have to deal with it. Come on, with your attention span. You can do this. That's it. That's the week 11, 10, 84 shows coming up, Championship Wrestlings. And then we'll get through November a week at a time, and then we jump into December. So we'll keep it going. That's Wrestling with the Past. Hope you enjoyed it. Good night now.